tune for us. And Doug did the lyrics and hummed something for Rick, and this is what they ended up with, which is beautiful. So how about giving them a little love this morning and sing it out and church it up a little bit when we get going? So if you weren't here, I think you'll get it by the second verse. So
Play it all the way through once, since it's new. It's short, and then we'll sing it twice. We'll sing it as it's written too.
I'd like to welcome everyone this morning, those of us in the sanctuary and on the internet. Is there anyone celebrating for the first time? Our reader this morning is going to be Dell, and our guest musicians. Welcome back, the Omnitones.
Yay!
Got this working like Swiss watch. Kula Mundo. Y'all remember Fonzie? Kula Mundo. Okay.
You want to move the mic right here, or?
That's me. The closer the better. We have a small crowd today. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Jim.
When you're stuck in traffic sometime this week and you're cursing at the guy who's right in front of you, or your kids or grandkids are screaming and making a big deal out of nothing at all, or there's some other kind of stressful situation, we at Valley Community Church Divine Science want you to utilize 206-2314, words of inspiration. I'm one of the dulcet tones that you will hear on that sometime during the week, and Reverend Velma does it the rest of the week. And it's a really refreshing break to anything that you'd be happy to do today. And it's part of practicing the presence, which is all what we're here for, right? Philip said to him, "Lord, show us the Father, and we will be satisfied." And that's from John 14:8. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to see and communicate with a perfect, immortal, I'll say, father and mother, the ideal replica of a loving human one who would take away all our troubles, solve all our problems instantly every time we ask. Jesus answers his beloved disciple in this way: "Have I so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He hath seen me, hath seen the Father. And he continues to go on, believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. The Christ is within you and me. This Christ that is within you and me is the consciousness of oneness with the Father. Without this presence, with a capital P, it would be only human to ask, when assaulted by the world, why is this happening to me? Beloved, see yourself as you really are. Lift your thoughts and your desires to that divine self, capital S again, that you are, which that only is. Give up your identification as a particular human being bound by time, place, and circumstance. And I think our Melinda Kramer referred to it as the end of personality. Just get rid of it. Does this sound difficult? It's the only way. My peace I give unto you, not as the world gives, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Carl Kopp. Thank you for listening today. Enjoy the service.
Our opening hymn this morning is going to be number 82, God of Love. We're going to sing both verses. Number 82, God is Love. We'll sing both verses. Please stand when you're able.
Good morning. I'm not Marita Wiggins. Our verse this morning is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 4. And it goes something like, there's a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to weep and a time to laugh. And I want to talk about a time to laugh for just a few moments. We are so fortunate that we get to come to a church where we can walk in, we can get hugs, smiles, laugh. We become friends with each other. We're not so pious and so religious that we can't enjoy each other's company. And it made me think about laughter, so I looked it up. And in the Bible, laughter is mentioned and written about 42 different times. And then I looked a little bit more, and it says scientists tell us that when we smile, we only use 13 muscles, but when we frown, we use 50. So I thought, well, evolutionary-wise, we were supposed to smile more than frown because we use less energy. And then I looked up the definition for laughter. What is laughter? So I looked it up in Webster, and he defines it as It's a mood, a disposition, mirthfulness, and joy. So I thought, well, this all sounds great, and what else is there? But then I thought, well, what do medical personnel say about it? Psychiatrists. And they say, well, laughter, of course, is the best medicine. It helps promote intimacy between us. It releases endorphins in our body. It helps us to relax the body and relax tension and stress. It helps our circulation, so thus it helps our heart. So with all this in mind, I want to share this story with you, in this thought and in this vein. There was a cat and a mouse, and they went to animal heaven. And St. Peter looks after animal heaven. And they were for a few days, and all of a sudden St. Peter saw the mouse, and he came up to the mouse and said, well, how do you like animal heaven? And the mouse said, oh, this is great. It's more than I thought. It's much bigger than I thought. Is there anything we can do for you? Well, you know, if I had a little pair of roller skates, I could get around so much quicker, so much easier. So St. Peter said, well, I'll think what I can do. I'll see what I can do. So about a day later, he found a pair of roller skates and gave them to the little mouse. And then a few days passed, and he saw Mr. Cat. He said, Mr. Cat, what do you think of animal heaven? And the cat went, oh, this is great. It's huge. Much bigger than I thought. And you know, I was here a few days before I realized y'all had Meals on Wheels. Laughter. It's good to be in church and being able to laugh. I'm so glad we can do that here. It's time for our statement of being now. You can look at it in the orders of service, and if you'll recite it with me right now. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and I am everyone with perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Do a song this morning that was a very popular soul song back in the 70s, and some of you will remember it, I think. It was by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and it was one of their hits called Wake Up Everybody. And every time I get to the chorus part of it, it makes me think of the saying by Gandhi that says, be the change you want to see in the world. And for you English teachers, there's some grammatical double negatives in here if you'll just look past that, but it's okay. It's really...
We're not going to get graded on this.
The lyrics are still as important today as they were in the 60s and 70s. So.
Just let it be. No. The world won't get no better. Gotta change it, yeah. Just you and me. Wake up all the doctors. the old people well. We're the ones who suffer and catch all the hell. They don't have so very long before their glory day. Won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our mind. Surely things will work out and do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. The world won't get no better. Gotta change it down to serenity. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. The world won't get no better. Gotta change it down to serenity. Gotta change it, yeah. Change it, yeah. Get it on, get it on. Wake up, everybody. 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 Wake up.
Now is the time of the service. It's my favorite time. I don't know if it's yours or not. It's our healing prayer time. Prayer box. My friends, there comes a time during the week, and this is one of those times where we can absolutely go within. It's that time where we can turn all of our cares, worries, troubles, all that keeps us awake at night, to the first thing we awaken with in the morning. It's time to turn that over. In my hand, I hold a sheet of paper, just a piece of paper with maybe an initial on it or a name. But it represents so much more. It represents all of our lives, all of us. We've had those moments where we need an extra prayer. Many of us walked through the door this morning. Our hearts were heavy. Maybe we were worried about something or someone, relationship, money, just stuff. And I invite you right now, just to let it go for just a little bit. Yesterday, I was passing a field and I saw the cattle laying under a tree as the hot sun was beating down on them and they were seeking shelter. And then shortly thereafter, a thunderstorm came out and they all rose as one and they went out to eat in the field, the green grass. bodies were cooled off by that summer rain, just like you and I, turning to our Father with the cool grass of prayer, the cool knowledge that He is always with us. In Matthew it says, where 2 or 3 are you are gathered together, I am in the midst of you. Oh, what a promise. Oh, what a promise, my friends. That perfect spirit, that perfect image, that perfect person is with us now, ready to heal us, to help us, to guide us. Let's be like the cattle and eat the green grass and accept it. The rain upon our back, the newness, the life, oh, it's all there for us. Let's reach and grab for it. I invite you in this next 90 seconds to turn all of this over to God, our Mother, Father, God, and to know that He is here among us now. Breathe and let go. Ever so gently we've been led to drink from the stream of life, from newness. Gently, gently, we come back to the room right now. Thank you, dear God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, dear God, for all your promises to us. Thank you for your healing. And it is so. Amen.
Amen.
Will you recite the Lord's Prayer with me now? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom is come. Thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread.
So give us this our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Now lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the
Thank y'all. I want to introduce you to John Denton. The year is 1725, and we're in England. John's father is a merchant seaman. He's away from the house quite a bit. John lives with his mother. And at the age of 6, his mother unexpectedly dies. John's father remarries, so John has to live with his stepmother. By all accounts, she's not very a good mother. She's not very motherly. She's a little rough on John and a little callous. John becomes known as an incorrigible youth. At age 11, John apprentices himself and goes to sea. We don't hear much about John's life for a few years, and then all of a sudden he joins the Royal Navy. Well, he doesn't serve with distinction here. Matter of fact, he deserts and flees to Africa. And he's caught and imprisoned, beaten and flogged. And his father finds out about it and goes and sails and rescues him. The next we hear about John is he's aboard a ship called the Greyhound. And the captain there writes about John, "This man is so profane, keep him away from me. Keep him away from me." That says a lot from a captain in the 1700s. Well, since John had been to Africa, he was familiar with the slave trade. So he became involved with the slave trade. And I just need to tell you just briefly about it. The voyage would go from Sierra Leone to the Americas, primarily North America, and it would take about 2 months, sometimes 2.5 months, depending upon the sailing conditions. And as all of you probably know, the slaves were men, women, children taken from their homes, from all they knew, ripped from families, and put aboard ships down in the cargo hold of the ships. And I'm sure the slaves thought, "Why did you do this to me? What have I done? Where are you taking me? What is going on?" They were probably grief-stricken. "Oh, I'm missing my family." All the emotions you can imagine, I'm sure they had. Well, our friend John was a slave trader, a slave captain. He had his own ship. And in the year 1748, he was making a trip across the oceans, and a low-pressure system settled over the ocean. The sky turned black, and the seas started to swell, and the winds picked up. And the seas got like 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. And sheets of rain came down. There was no sky anymore, it was just black. And it even got worse. Now you have to understand, John has seen it all. Remember, he went to sea when he was 11, but this got worse. And he could hear the men down below, he could hear the slaves down below screaming and crying in terror. They were being tossed about in the ship, in the storm, maybe breaking arms, legs, crying out in terror. They don't have windows, they don't have lights. And I'm sure water was dripping in on them. And to keep the ship, you have to understand when you're in a storm like this, they had to take the sails down. And the only thing they have here for navigation is they have the keel up under the ship for ballast, and then the rudder. And you have to stay within the wind. The bow has to stay into the wind to ride the waves. If you get sideways, that's it, you're over, you're capsized. And somehow the storm even got worse. John has seen it all, but he hadn't seen this. It got worse. And the men on board had to lash themselves to the mast and to the wheel and to the other unmovable objects to keep from being washed overboard. And it got so much that John couldn't take it anymore. He heard all the screaming down below, and the men up top scared to death, and he started screaming out, "God have mercy on me. God have mercy on me. God have mercy on me." somehow, the storm passed. The seas quieted. They stayed afloat through great skill and great luck. And John went into his cabin and started writing these words. And I'm going to invite you right now, get your hymnal out, if you would, please, for me. I've got mine. Get your hymnal out. Let's turn to page 3. You see page 3? Amazing Grace. These are the words John wrote after that terrible storm. God have mercy on me. If you would, right now, without musical accompaniment, I want us to feel deeply these words that John wrote. Will you sing just the first verse, just where you're sitting? Just sing the first verse with me, if you would.
How sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Thank you. You put your hymnals up. God have mercy on me. I need to finish John's story. Sadly, he did make a few more runs as a slave captain. He didn't know anything else to do. But his heart was never back into it, even though the money was good. He went on to study Latin. He became self-learned. He became a preacher. This man, who's been described as incorrigible, a deserter, profane, slave trader, became a preacher. We could take a flashlight and look at John's heart, and we say, this man totally changed. He's not the same person. He's a different man. He's totally different. God have mercy on me. He is so different. He's open to God's love. He's receptive to God's love. And he even turns out to be a voice for God. What a change. What a change. God have mercy on me. A couple of weeks ago, I was reading an article on small private Christian colleges. And when he said small and private, I thought, oh, it's kind of ritzy, maybe Vermont. But then he said Christian, maybe deep south, maybe Texas. But anyway, the article didn't say where it was located, small private Christian college. And it was talking about the matriculation process. Now, most of the students could get in on their good GPAs, community involvement, participation in sports or music. And then those that were on the cusp, this college would invite them to come before the admissions board. And you can make your case there to get admittance. And it gave a list of the questions and a list of the answers. And surprisingly, most of the questions and answers were the same for each candidate. And it went something like this. I'll share it with you. It went like, why do you want to come to our college? Well, I want to get a degree. Why do you want a degree? Well, I want to get a good job. And what are you going to do then? Well, I'll probably get married and have a family. And what are you going to do then? Well, save for retirement. And what are you going to do then? Well, retire. And what are you going to do then? And what are you going to do then? Well, folks, our smart college candidates don't have an answer. Now, I know we know differently. If anybody asks us why we are here, what we are doing, and why why we come here, what is our purpose in life, I know we're going to get the right answers. We could take that flashlight we used a little bit ago, we could look at our hearts again. We were created in the image of God. Should we not reflect that back? Should we not be a mirror for that to other people? We were created with all of God's inherencies: love, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance. Should we not express that every day? We were created to walk with God in a oneness, hand in hand, to walk with God. And as this pulpit tells us week after week, we were created to celebrate the omnipresence of God. Oh, I can walk over here, I'm still not separate. I can walk over there, I'm still not separate. The omnipresence of God. I could go to the car. God is going home with me. Thank you, dear God. And then I got to thinking, from a layman's point of view, why are we really here? And then it occurred to me, we can make a foundation stone of this and build a skyscraper. We could build a skyscraper from this one. We are here to love God and love one another. Oh, that's it. That's it. To me, that's it. The skyscraper can be built. We are here to love God and love one another. Oh, search my heart. That would be beautiful. That is why we're here. So if anybody asks us why we are here, what we're doing, let's don't fail the entrance exam, okay? I'm going to share something with you. This isn't too flattering on my part, but it illustrates a point. A few years ago, I was driving early in the morning, and it was like November of the year. It was not that bitter cold in January, but it was November, it was cold. And I'm the only one up early in the morning driving. I'm the only headlights up. And I'm doing about 45 miles per hour on this particular road. I just feel comfortable. It's a little country road.
I'm not sure what he said there.
I feel comfortable at 45 miles an hour. And I was coming up a little hill, and out of my left eye, out of the corner of my eye, I slammed the brakes on. NPR is playing. My phone is flying through the air. I was doing 45. My inertia, I was doing about 8 miles an hour when she was right in front of my headlights. Headlights on either side of her. And since I was coming down from the start, I was stopping, matter of factly. I didn't really hit her hard, but she hit the front end, and she tumbled and she twisted and landed about 15 feet in front of my car. My headlights are shining on her, and she shook her head, and cortisone flashing through her body, she got up and she scampered into the woods. She wasn't lame. She wasn't hurt. And I'm sitting there in the cold, in the darkness. My headlights are shining on the black pavement. I'm the only one there. And I was just going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, dear God, that I did not hurt that toe. Thank you, dear God, that I did not hurt that toe. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, for that one instance, you could take a flashlight and look at my heart. It was pure for one time in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, dear God. I did not hurt that animal. Thank you, thank you. God have mercy on me. I wanted to point that out so that you would see that it's how our hearts are different at different occasions. At that one particular time, my heart was pure. I want to share with y'all, and I'm going to have to apologize to my classmates in the Old Testament class I'm taking now. I'm going to talk a little bit more King James Version instead of the thinking man, thinking woman, metaphysical way we've been studying. And I want to talk just briefly, we all know the story of Abraham and Sarah. And I want to just talk about this much of their life, just a small section of Abraham and Sarah. At this point, Abraham is, the Bible says he's 100, Sarah's 90. Oh, what a love story they had. Oh, we could do a sermon on that sometime. What a love story they had. And Abraham is upper middle class. He's not that 3% you hear, but he's upper middle class. He has livestock, cattle, sheep. He has grains. He has housewares. And he's well thought of in the community, but he doesn't have a son. Oh, he doesn't have a son. He always wanted a son. You know, with a son, you can pass on your inheritance. A son can take your name. A son can be a village elder or head of a tribe. Oh yeah, you want a son. And Sarah, she loved Abraham so much, I think she was always a little forlorn that she never had a son for him. I think she felt bad about it, but nevertheless, they did love each other. Well, it came to pass at a certain point, God came to Sarah and said, Sarah, you're going to be with child. You're going to get pregnant. It says she laughed at God. Oh, yeah, right. I'm 90 years old. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Well, you and I know God's plans, don't we? She did become pregnant. They had a child, and it was a son. Oh, and they named it Isaac, I'm sorry. And Isaac means laughter. They named it Isaac, their child. And I'm sure Isaac was the apple of his mother's eye. And I'm sure Abraham probably walked a little quicker around the village, a little more upright, going, you know, I might be a little older, but I've got a son. Look at me, I've got a son. Finally, I've got my son. And we don't hear much about him for a little while, because several years. And then God goes to Abraham and says, Abraham, I want you to sacrifice your son to me. What? You've got to be kidding. My son? What? Abraham, I want you to sacrifice your son to me. Oh, no, God, no. Don't ask that out of me. No. Anything but that, no. Abraham, sacrifice your son to me. Okay, God. Okay, God. Well, it doesn't say, but I would think that Abraham didn't sleep very well or eat very much. He was probably anxious and worried, and every emotion we can think of about this, to sacrifice his son that he loved so much. But the appointed day came, and together they walked to the sacrificial mount, which is Mount Moriah. And in the Bible it says it's a mountain range, but I wanted to look that up. I wasn't sure about that, so I looked it up. Topographically, it's not a mountain range like you and I would call a mountain range. It's more like if you took Mill Mountain and took about half of it off. It's about what Mount Moriah looks like. Now, it does have a rocky outcropping at top, but it's no big hike. But together they went to Mount Moriah. They might have been holding hands, I don't know. And they got about halfway up, and Isaac turns to his dad and says, Dad, if we're going to make a sacrifice, where's the lamb? And Abraham says, God will provide. Huh. That's another sermon. God will provide. But they got to the top, and this is pure speculation and supposition on my part. But I'm thinking if it was a place where they've sacrificed before, that it probably was an outcropping of rocks, and probably one rock was larger than the others, and this was probably the altar. And I'm thinking It was probably stained with blood and probably rust colored into the rock. The dirt around it was probably rusty, and it's just not an attractive place. And Abraham took his son and laid his son that he loved so much on the altar, took his dagger out, had it above his head. He's going to plunge it into his son. He's getting ready, and then a messenger comes, an angel from God. A messenger comes and says, "Stop, stop, stop." Let's use that flashlight again. Let's look at Abraham for just a second. What do we know about him? Well, we know he and Sarah loved each other very much. It's written and recorded about that. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful relationship. Gentlemen, we could take a cue from Abraham and love the women in our lives and treat them with that much love and respect. We need to be doing that. We also know that Abraham was a good father. He loved his son. We also know he was a good village elder. And more importantly than all of that, we know that he was a man of God. Well, the Bible says he's obedient to God, but I like to think he's more intuitive to God, to God's wants, wishes, desires. He's attuned to what God would want of him. Now, I think that's what, if we looked at his heart with that flashlight, I think we would find a man that was attuned to God, a loving man, a very, very good man. Y'all probably remember, as I do, a couple years ago, when Dr. Wiggins would speak and she'd meet us in the foyer out front. And she'd say something to you like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. Hope you have a good week. Hope you enjoyed the message." And you could say to her, "Well, I needed this one today. You hit the nail on the head for me. Thank you. Good message." Well, I was walking out one day. Dr. Wiggins took her hand, Marita took her hand. She opened it just like this. Just this. She laid it over my heart. She didn't move it. She just laid it there. She went, "Doug, have a good week. Doug, I'm glad you're here. Hope everything is okay. I am so glad you're here." You could have bowled me over. This gesture was so intimate. It was so personal. It made me feel valued. I know we're all too old and sophisticated to have homework anymore. So I'm going to call this our challenge for the week. But between you and I here, it's our homework assignment. I want you to touch another person's life this week, and tell me what it felt like to you. You can tell me, Reverend Melanie or Dr. Wiggins. Tell me what it felt like to you to touch another's life. Now, you can't tell me about their mind because we don't know the operation of their mind, but you can tell me how it felt to you. And I was thinking about some of the scenarios. It could be like, do you remember last Thursday in the kitchen? I knew those words. I knew when I was saying them that it was going to start the argument. I did it anyway. I knew I was going to start the argument. I pushed the buttons. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Or you asked me to clean the dishes in the sink and pick the towel up in the bathroom. I heard you, but I didn't want to do it. I acted like I didn't hear you. I just didn't do it. I didn't do it. I walked away. And you didn't say anything, but I saw the hurt on your face. You didn't say anything, but I saw the hurt. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Or brother, sister, my best friend, we would talk every week. We would talk. Oh, I could share everything with you. We had no secrets. You were my confidant. I shared everything with you. We'd laugh and I could tell you everything. But then I remember that one time, I remember what you said about me, and it hurt me, and I pulled back a little. And then I noticed the next time we talked, you pulled back a little from me. And then I pulled back more from you. We don't talk anymore. Not really talk. We don't share. We don't laugh. I want my relationship back with you. I want it back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please come back into my life. These are just some of the scenarios. What I want us to do this week, each of us, I want you to reach and offer somebody love, reach and offer someone hope, reach and offer someone forgiveness, reach and offer someone acceptance, reach to help someone feel valued. Will you pray with me? Dear God, I hope when that flashlight is shined upon our hearts, that we will be found to love you and to love one another. What a simple statement. It's so true. Thank you, dear God. Thank you, dear God. Amen.
Amen.
There is a song in that message. It reminds me of reach out and touch somebody's hand. That's a very nice message. And we have two songs we'd like to do that. The genesis of it came from a message that Marita gave about a month ago. If any of you were here, it's when she was talking about the automatic negative thinking that we have when you just woes and worries and all that stuff. And sometimes some of us tend to go right to the automatic negative thinking. She called it ants, and we'd had to learn how to stomp the ants. And one of the suggestions she gave on how you stomp those ants is to start your morning every day thinking about God, and just put God in your mind and to cover your worries and woes. So we put two songs together that one of them I think you'll recognize is a takeoff of Christian contemporary twist to an old 70s song, Best of My Love. And then following it by another 60s song, also when you wake up in the morning thinking about God.
When I this morning, you were on my mind, and you were on my mind. I got troubles, whoa, whoa. I got worries, whoa, whoa. I got wounds to hide. So I went to the corner just to ease my pain. Said, just to ease my pain. I got troubles, whoa, whoa. I got worries, whoa, whoa. I came home again. Then I woke up this morning, you were on my mind, and you were on my mind. I got troubles, whoa, whoa. I got worries, whoa, whoa. I got wounds to bind, and I got a feeling down in my shoes, and way down in my shoes. Yeah, I gotta ramble, whoa, whoa. I gotta move, whoa, whoa. I gotta walk away my blues. When I woke up this morning, you were on my mind, and you were on my mind. I got troubles, whoa, whoa. I got worries, whoa, whoa. I got wounds to bind.
It's now time for the blessing of the gifts. You'll find it in your orders of service. Say with me, today I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to try to make these announcements very short today. Great message, Doug. Thank you. Last week I announced that we were collecting peanut butter for Feeding America. They have called this week and they're extending it to the end of August. So I didn't make a one call on it this week. I will get a whole month to go. So please remember to bring peanut butter and I will take it the last of August. They extended it for 30 days for some reason. Also, as you know, last year we've been supplying supplies for Oak Grove Elementary School. It's an ongoing basis, and I know school is out for the summer, but it's been ready to start again. So please get the list out of the annex in there, and if you can provide anything, we'd like to have these boxes filled up by the time school starts, so they'll have a good supply to start with. And we appreciate your help with that. Next Saturday, we're going to do our wonderful tubing trip on the New River. Do you have any, what time we're going, how much does it cost?
It's $10 for a tube on the weekend, and you get a life jacket. You get a 10% discount if we have a pretty good sized group. They say 10 on the website, but they also say good sized groups get a discount, so I bet they give us a discount even if we have just 8. But it's much funner if we have a big group. We can rent, well, we don't even have to rent, it's first come, first served, but they have grills there and they'll provide all the paper products. And we can take a picnic down. They'll even take it down to the grill for us when we're finished tubing, so we can grill and have a picnic. If anybody knows how to work a grill. That wouldn't be me.
Let's see, who did that last year? Rick and Doug did that last year. I mean, it was really great. I mean, they hauled everything down for us, and all you had to do
So
was...
what I would say is, if you want to go, I'll be in charge. If you give me an extra $5, so say $15, then I can buy all the supplies for the picnic stuff and bring the picnic down, and I'll pay as we go. Also, you'll have to bring your driver's license because they take a driver's license for every 2 people. You get it back at the end, but they need it to hold you too. So it's really fun. It's a great time. Very easy. Hopefully the water will be up.
And believe me, you will be hungry at the end of the
Yes. It's really, really, really
hungry,
fun.
and it was fun. I have to admit. I mean, I'm not a water person, and I had a great time last year. We need to know today, right?
We need to know today, and I would say I don't have a set time. We can agree on that. I would prefer to go down a little earlier in the day so it's not quite so hot. So I would say meet at the church like at 9:30.
That's lunchtime.
Oh, we don't want it too early for that on a picnic. We don't want to go at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I'm just saying that's lunchtime. But, yeah, we can do. Let's find out who I was going and then we'll set a time. 9:30 sounds good to me. Okay. All right, we got that taken care of. This week's flowers are for Becky's birthday. Happy birthday, Becky. And one last thing, the Omnitones took a break. Now vacation's over, so thank you all. It was wonderful to have you back. We have the best band in the state, okay? Thank y'all.
Our closing hymn will be number 65, He Healeth Me. We're going to sing both verses. Number 65, He Healeth Me. We'll sing both verses.